Hello. I was wondering if I might trouble you for a cup of strong black coffee, and in the process engage you with an anecdote of no small amusement.
Hello, and welcome to another episode here at Nerd Herder. I'm Jdub. If you didn't look up, I was gonna make a joke of I'm Jdub. This is Mike, because for our visual fans, Boop's mic is just in such a lovely position.
All I am is microphone and Jason Voorhees today.
Oh no, there's a lovely Boop behind there somewhere.
Let me know when they show up.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, making sure. And I love you, everyone tuning in and checking this out now or in the future, however you enjoy getting this. Yes, much like the pillow looming over me, this episode's been looming on my schedule all, 2 weeks, because this was supposed to be last week. I am lame and life got lifey, and so here we are this week talking about and revisiting a fan favorite episode here at Nerd Herder.
Yes,
we're getting a little cagey, if you will. So it's one of those things. If you don't know, Boop likes the Cage. Boop likes Nic Cage.
The first time I told you, I think it was on this show, that Nicolas Cage is my favorite actor, you had a visceral reaction.
Well, it's maybe like raw disbelief, but
it's true.
It is true. I do love you, so it's just one of those things where it's just like, oh, I knew there had to be a negative somewhere because you're just so awesome. And so we decided, let's subject, and I mean my let's, like, you'll never force an idea for the podcast.
No,
like you're too small and kind for that.
And for watching movies, I think there have been several times where I've sat you down and I've been like, if you need to tap out of this movie, you can tap out. There's no pressure to watch this. And so far, you've never done that.
No, like, I'll tell you before it goes on if I don't want to watch something. But if you want to watch something and I don't mind, we'll check it out. And that's usually how I get introduced to a lot of cool stuff.
I might wait for you to get home on Tuesday to watch Skinamarink.
Hey, well, yeah, maybe. It comes highly recommended. So
yeah. Hi, Graeme, if you're in the chat.
So yeah, it was one of those things where it's just like, when I say let's, it was you bringing an idea and me being just like, yeah, nobody held a gun to my head and said, talk about Nic Cage, no matter how I may make it sound. I chose this, and Ghost Rider.
You've made your bed.
Yeah.
Now you get to lie
We started with Ghost Rider because I think I don't know if that's your favorite Nic Cage or why that was the one.
It's up there.
But we started there and everybody loved it. It was highly viewed, a lot of interactions. It was great. And so I'm a sucker for attention, and here we are again.
We're shills.
And as always, of course, joined by a lovely cast of characters. None as crazy as Nic Cage, but got quite the entendre with us to chat about this.
I don't know.
Entourage. Words just come out of my mouth, man. I don't know what I've got to do to get people to understand. I don't plan much. I don't podcast for the plan.
Entendre from Entourage.
I don't know. Entendre? Double entendre? What is that? I don't know.
Second meaning?
Okay, well, here's a second meaning.
You want to take his face?
Yes. His face.
Oh.
The eyes, nose, skin, coming off. The face.
See, when I do that motion, when I say the words face off, people rarely know what I'm talking about.
Those people are lame.
They are lame.
But you know who's not lame? Talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. No. Yes. Who's not lame? And by the way, that wasn't a second meaning. I was just moving on, but because I wanted to.
I'm still working through being an entendre at this point. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna live this down. It's like the other day, I was trying to say reputation, and somebody misspoke and said representation, and so in my brain, I'm like, am I saying the right word? And so I couldn't say for the rest of the day reputation. I kept saying representation. Like they got me somewhere in my brain, but oh my gosh, my lovely brain. Almost as lovely as our guests tonight. Got the lovely Charlie back
Charlie
with us, and with an entourage of Nick's.
Hey,
that's right. That's right.
There you go. Not an entendre. And return of the Dairy Daddy, Nick Milky.
Well, and now I can't believe that I missed the opportunity, and I'm going to just go ahead and fix it right now. I mean, why is there a K in this? What's going on here? I mean,
There you go.
There you go.
I mean,
4
amateur.
letters.
What am I doing?
Just like us.
For anyone that, by the way, wants a peek into like our social life, I often start messages with Nick with "Hey, Milk Daddy" or something like that.
True.
So you're in with me.
It's not spelled milky like you would think.
No, I don't know.
But that's
it's
okay
just,
because that's how it's pronounced.
you're just a tall glass of milk, man. I love you.
That's right. As white and liquid as it gets. Wait a minute. I don't know.
In case you couldn't hear it for our audio listeners, he is in fact white. No.
Full of vitamin D.
That's right.
Well, thank you guys for jumping at the opportunity. You both were quite eager to join for this one. In fact, Nick, it was mostly your suggestion when we put this to Discord a while back. You were very quick with the reply of Face Waterfalls.
Yeah, I mean, Face Off, and we're going to get into this, obviously. Face Off is one of those quality, good, bad movies. Like, that's really where it falls. I do have to say, and we've talked about this a little bit over the time that I've known you guys, and knowing Boop's love for the Cage Master himself, talking about, what was the movie, what was the one that started it. Of course, I grew up with a healthy dose of Raising Arizona, some of the other classics, but I have to say, and this may be a little under the radar, and if it ever becomes a part of a Cage episode, I will have to, of course, demand to be back. I think my favorite Nicolas Cage movie is actually Gone in 60 Seconds, which is one of those under the radar hot take opinions. It's just, I'm not necessarily saying it's good. Most of it for me is my love affair with that specific car, but Nicolas Cage, Giovanni Ribisi, Cobb Vanth himself, Timothy Oliphant is one of the two detectives that are chasing. Like, there's a lot in that movie that shows up and you're like, how is this in this movie? So,
it's one of my mom's favorites.
Well, and I'm an old person, so like a mom or a dad, of course, it's my favorite too.
Do you think we could get my mom on the podcast?
If we could, that'd be the one. That'd be the one, and then she can be disappointed in us live.
Usually it's just over text.
Right? It's insinuated disappointment. Now it would be overt. Gone in 60 Seconds is very loved in our household. In fact, my mom had a model of the Eleanor Mustang from that. She loves Mustangs, but she fell in love with that one from that movie. And it was almost a good enough movie to turn her around on Angelina Jolie. Almost. There was this weird thing that so for longtime listeners, my mom's Elijah Wood was Angelina Jolie.
Was it because she was married to Billy Bob Thornton?
Well, no, it was the Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing where she left for Brad Pitt.
That'll do it.
And, my mom was just so in on the tea that was just disgraceful. But anyway, well, that's a whole nother Nic Cage episode, but
and it will be. Mark your calendar, Milky.
Right. And so this one was a pretty easy choice, but Charlie, would you say this is your favorite, or was this just eagerly anticipated?
It's one of the top 5 for me.
Okay.
Raising Arizona is. I grew up with Raising Arizona, just like Nick over here did.
But
then there's Face Off, and then there's Gone in 60 Seconds. My favorite one of all time is The Rock.
Yeah.
That's
I'm really looking forward to talking about that one, because for the longest time, that was the only Nic Cage movie to me.
We're going to truly find out how many times in one episode can Boop do the, hey, do you know Alcatraz meets Pelican?
Probably every time somebody says that, which is a lot in that movie, actually.
Yeah.
So that'll be our drinking game for that one. Not that we do or condone drinking, but if you're a patron, then you get to enjoy our commentary right now. We did a commentary for Face Off, and in it we jokingly started the drinking game of every time somebody does a face waterfall, which is a pivotal plot point in this ridiculous movie.
Do we need to clarify what a face waterfall is, John?
I feel like you're going to do it anyway.
You ready?
Sure. So for our audio listeners,
that means I love you.
I love you so much. You just run your hand over somebody's face, and that's important to this movie, but they do it a lot. And so you could almost be a registered DUI by playing that game. And very similarly for The Rock with Alcatraz, probably every time somebody says bunny in Con Air, I don't know.
All right, and I'm doing some on the fly research here, because it struck me the run, and I'm sure y'all have talked about this before because you've done other Cage stuff on screen or on your show. The run, and let's take it from Leaving Las Vegas, 1995.
Bless.
95, Leaving Las Vegas. 96, The Rock. 97, Con Air. 97, also Face Off. Yeah. 98, City of Angels. 98, Snake Eyes. 99, 8mm. 99, Bringing Out the Dead. 2000, Gone in 60 Seconds. Just in that window of time. Like, talk about prolific. This man does not rest. This man works. And to have Con Air and Face Off, and Con Air, I could go on Con Air may be as equally good bad as this movie is. And as someone who lives in Alabama, who is someone who is familiar with Mobile, Alabama, where Nic Cage is supposedly from. First of all, there's not put the burning down. Like, the accent is its own character. But also one of my favorite lines in any movie ever, but comes from that movie, and I quote it too often where people don't know where it comes from, is when he's staring out of the airplane, and somebody comes up to him, he's like, "What are you looking at?" And he goes, "I don't know, trees and stuff." What is going on here?
And of course, in that accent, just makes it all the better. All the more golden.
It's such a bad wig.
It's such a bad wig.
That is one of my favorite John Malkovich movies, though. I always enjoyed it for him.
Yes, that is
anytime I rewatched it.
And then, of course, Buscemi as the crazy guy who may or may not have scragged that little girl in that empty swimming pool in that trailer park. It just, there's a lot there. I'm getting us off track of the movie at hand, but I mean, Con Air is just, it might be Mount Rushmore of good bad movies.
That'd be an interesting thing to run down. I do think you'd run into a lot of Nic Cage on that list, though.
You absolutely would.
And from the era you're talking about, like, it is interesting how often he worked in the 90s and early 2000s versus where now, I mean, it's almost an interesting step out of the closet for him of, okay, Nic Cage is returning for this big thing. He gets a lot of choice now, I think. Whereas back then it was just like, you got this movie because you're Nic Cage. Now it's like, I want to do what I want to do.
Now it's kind of like he's been elected to the Veterans Committee. Like, you've been around long enough that, you know, and again, these were not small movies in that long run in the 90s and 2000s. You know, like, those were blockbuster movies when they came out. I mean, The Rock has Sean Connery in it, and we've got, you know, the lineups in all those movies are significant, every single one of them. Those were blockbuster summer big deal movies. They weren't little small things that went out.
I mean, Nic Cage won an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas.
Right.
Well, and this movie, even, this was a financial and critical success. Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you rewind yourself to 97, this was the hotness And I mean, the numbers are there. That really impressed me because it's just one of those things where it's just like, I mean, I guess I could see it, but at the same time, it's weird.
It's one of those things like this was the age of Cage, one might say. But it's ironic because I'm pretty sure at this time was when he had bought that haunted house in New Orleans.
And the dinosaur skeletons.
Yeah. Which was the start of a run of very bad luck, which led up to him buying his pyramid, by the way. Always have to add that in whenever I talk about Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And this era of filmmaking.
He went upstairs to Graceland and he bought a pyramid.
Well, I know.
Well, think about it. He's a big fan of Elvis, and he married Elvis's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I mean, how more can you be?
Yeah. Well, and it's those things where, like I said when we talked about Ghost Rider, like he's an enigmatic man. Like him as a person is very, very interesting to me, especially now. I don't know if it's
he's a goth dad.
True. He's a big fan of his kid's musical career, which is just awesome. He knows about anime because of his son. Like it's stuff like that are coming out where it's just like, wow, this is interesting. He's not just here selling a product. He's just kind of out here doing his own thing and pretending to be a can of shortbread, apparently.
Yeah. He loves shortbread. Every single interview with Nicolas Cage, I watch at least 5 times because he is just, he's so charismatic, you know? He says things so weird. Like that Variety thing where he did the autocomplete interview. Love that. Yeah, he's definitely on the high list of actors or just like important famous people that I'd love to sit down and have coffee with. Oh, absolutely.
For sure. Well, and talking about the time period,
soundtrack was on point.
This movie released June 19th, 1997. First question for all of the lovely people gathered here as I take over like this is my actual show. Where were you in June of 1997? Let's play that game first of all. I may not want to know the answer to this question.
2 years old.
I was 12.
I was 3 and well on my way to an obsession with Star Wars.
Okay, well that's appropriate because we're going to get to the domestic box office for 1997 in just a minute. I had graduated high school in June of 1997, so I was well on my way to independence and watching all the terrible Nic Cage movies I could get my hands on. Looking at what else happened in 97, we talked about Face Off and Con Air both being released that same year. Here's the domestic box for 97. Does anybody want to hazard a guess what number 1 was in 1997?
Ooh.
1997. That's
No
after
idea.
Titanic, I believe. So that's not probably it. I don't know. I don't know what else was really happening in
There's a lot, and it may surprise you. So number 1 in 1997 was Men in Black.
Brian.
There you go. Number 2 was Jurassic Park: The Lost World.
Ooh.
Number 3 was Liar Liar.
Oh, those movies are older than I remember.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Air Force One with Harrison Ford, the ass-kicking president.
Yeah.
Number
Best
5
president.
in 1997 was Star Wars: A New Hope Special Edition, which was released in 97.
That's when I got
That's
into
true.
Star Wars. Yeah.
And I was going to come to this point later as well. Finishing off, getting to Face Off, Best Friend's Wedding number 6, Titanic number 7,
Oh, that was
Face Off number 8, number 9, Batman and Robin, number 10, George of the Jungle, and number 11, Con Air.
That's quite the list. And Nic Cage got on there twice.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, we were just talking about Lost World too, because that's my favorite of the Jurassic Park movies.
Really?
Yeah.
It beats out 1?
Yeah.
Really?
Is
wrong with you?
that controversial?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a better lead cast and it's a better plot.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Can I come live with you, Nick?
Yep, it's fine. Come on.
Can I come
It's
stay with you for a
safe
little
here.
while? Okay.
Right.
And I almost want to sympathize with him because the actor that played Toby Ziegler in The West Wing is in Jurassic Park: The Lost World, but that's not enough to save that movie. Sorry.
Oh my gosh,
It's
I did
not a
not
bad
realize.
movie, but
Okay, so I already.
Jurassic Park.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. Like it's fine. It's set the stage. I mean, it's the A New Hope of the Jurassic Park
You're
films.
gonna make us two people very angry.
Look, I'm not denying it's the Beatles. It's the thing where it's just like it's undeniably good and like groundbreaking. But then the next thing, now knowing
Sucked.
that this new thing is really cool, goes and does it better.
No.
Like. I don't know, man. There's that
No.
great reference. The one guy says Godzilla as he's running away from the T-Rex. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Oh,
You're
man.
a weird person.
I would think you'd be on my side. There's more Jeff Goldblum in the second
I
one.
do. I love Jeff Goldblum,
Yeah, but
he doesn't
Man.
take his shirt off.
And gymnastics saved the day. Thank you, Brian.
Yes.
Well, we lost Brennen.
But the gymnastics in gymnastics in The Lost World are basically the equivalent of the swinging through the jungle on the vines in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, awesome.
Also a great movie.
Don't make me call Jerry on the podcast.
Y'all are poking holes in my ability to like have any valid criticism of Face Off because I'm over here like, oh, The Lost World.
We're
Kingdom
removing
of the
any
Crystal
street
Skull.
cred you thought you had is what we're really doing.
Which was at 0, so now we're just going way down.
What are we talking about?
But yeah, I wanted to come back to the comment. I think page turners, they were not put in there. That was one of the points I was going to share as well. Not only did John Powell score this movie, this was his first movie to score. And we, of course, as Star Wars fans, know that John Powell did the score for Solo: A Star Wars Story, How to Train Your Dragon. I know he's gone on to do some other things. But I was surprised to discover that because I'm a big fan, even though it's basically like Wikipedia. I do love the IMDb trivia section. Anytime I watch movies, I end up, plowing through there to see, what wrong facts or, weird other oddities show up in there. So there's some good stuff in this one as well.
Oh yeah. Well, it put me on quite the deep dive of info because anybody, well, our patrons and eventually way down the road, the public will get to hear like my overthinking of the plot and everything. And so for everyone wondering, no, I didn't find any answers for why I felt the way I felt about some of the plot points there. I was just very conflicted on the direction they wanted me to feel about certain characters and certain points.
Which is valid.
And it seems to just be a byproduct of the filmmaking. It doesn't seem to be anything, or at least not that I could find anything like super serious and intended. But and I do want to second what Brian has said. I love the score. The music for Solo, like that movie is very fun, but then the music added into it. Our original
Persistence Memory that they play during as they're flying into the Maud, leaving Kessel, it brings back all those favorites from
the history of the Falcon. It's just
really good.
It was brilliant. And I mean, to be handling such legacy, like Rogue One had the benefit of it was all new. So you want kind of some new music with some nuance, but here you're dealing with legacy characters. You've got Han, Chewie, and Lando. It's harder to make music for very well-known characters, I think. And I think he did amazing.
It's also got to be good when you do it.
For sure. So I did want to go back though, because much like gymnastics saved the day and the best Jurassic Park, The Lost World, it also kind of technically saved the day in this one because fans of John Woo will appreciate how much gun fu is in this movie.
There are so many gun jumps.
Yeah.
Dual wielding gun jumps.
Yeah, that's sort of the fingerprint he's left on a lot of his movies, a lot of his more acclaimed movies, at least. And this one is no different. And it's one of those things I think that I, like a lot of people, maybe thought or misremembered that being more present than it was. But when it was there, boy howdy, he blew out the water on the gun fu. I don't know if or any of you are fans of that brand of action movie, or if that's just like turn off your brain and laugh kind of entertainment for you.
Yes, that's where it falls for me. And it is very John Woo, and I had forgotten that. I actually watched last weekend while we were out of town in Memphis. I watched it on my phone. Everybody had gone to bed. It's not available streaming anywhere, so I straight up paid that $3 to Amazon.
Me too.
So that I could watch it on my phone. And I will say, the John Woo, you nailed it, the dual-wield gun aspect of it fed one of the things that I texted to Boop either Sunday after I had gotten home and had watched it, or at whatever point that I was sent this message. This movie, and this is where we're going to go with this. This had to have been the inspiration for Michael Gary Scott as he wrote the cult classic Threat Level Midnight in The Office. Because if you go back and watch the Threat Level Midnight episode where they actually sit down and screen the movie, it feels like it was him going, "Oh, I saw this in a movie. I could do that." Because it's Golden Face with the guns, Michael Scarn with the gun. Like, it felt like I've seen The Office too many times, and I haven't seen the movie Face Off in probably 15 years. And as soon as I watched it, the first thing that popped in my head was like, this is like Threat Level Midnight. This feels like Michael Scott wrote this movie, or at least wrote the action scenes for this movie.
At least the ending of the movie.
Or especially the ending of this movie. There's big face-off Threat Level Midnight synergy. And I know, like, you go back to the Office Ladies episode, because that hasn't been that long ago, where they talk about that episode of The Office. I wish we could get an actual episode with the writer's room that wrote that screenplay initially, because it comes up early in one of the seasons when they do the table read. I wish we could find out, like, what did they base Michael Scott's movie on? Because somebody in that room had to have said, at minimum, John Woo, if not, like, y'all remember how crazy the gunfights at the beginning of Face Off, like when they're in the airport, you know, before Cage gets blasted with the jet engine, like, you know, this whole thing.
Yeah,
like it feels like a movie that a bunch of like amateur filmographers like, I'm going to make this.
Yeah, I mean, it's big and bombastic, and it goes there very quickly. Like you said, like, we get the whole setup, the big set piece in the beginning, and then really we're just kind of on a crazy roller coaster until it returns in the big finale. But anytime Castor and Archer like face off, you get all of the wooisms at once. It seems
you get so many birds.
Yeah,
so many birds.
Which
best use of birds since the James Bond movie where the bird does the double take towards the camera, the pigeon.
I've seen that scene.
What's sad is there weren't more doves or birds present in the beginning where it would have been more helpful, like fly into the jet engine, slowing down something. But
but see, they used that in Last Crusade to take down the plane that was going after Indy. So
very true.
Got to use it somewhere.
I remember when Fabio got hit in the face with a goose.
Yes, on a roller coaster at like Knott's Berry Farm or somewhere.
Yeah.
Is that why his face looks like that?
No, it's just like that.
I was gonna say, if they weren't talking about Face Off at the writing teams, they were probably like, "Oh, remember how much better Mission Impossible 2 was?" Oh my gosh!
Why do you want me to watch these movies?
No, I only want you to watch Fallout, the one with Henry Cavill. That's it.
Okay,
that's it. Because he's amazing,
that's it.
And I need someone else to like just gush over this man with me.
Just stare at his mustache for the entire.
Oh my gosh!
The magical disappearing mustache when he goes to do that fight in the bathroom. And
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! No, it's really good. But yeah, like there's a reason Mission Impossible 2 is my least favorite Mission Impossible, though, for sure. Because it's also very full of these wooisms, the influence of the director, the things that made John Woo very famous in the Hong Kong film culture, where I think there's just something about it, because I went on a marathon of the Police Story movies with Jackie Chan. I love those ridiculous over the top multi-genred Hong Kong films where it's action, it's comedy, it's drama, it's everything wrapped up in this weird enigmatic ball. That's fun. That's a lot to enjoy in one sitting. I don't know that it translates with American action like this, though. Like, obviously it's injected in there, but it feels very out of place. And that's where like some of the like rickety footing of the story for me comes in, where I'm just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to think or feel. Obviously they want me to go ooh and ah at this, but then we go from there to this moment where it's just like, am I supposed to think about this or just, be quiet?
And and I don't know this for a fact because I am 3/4 of the way through the first one. And this is another, another hole in my movie watching resume, but isn't that kind of what the John Wick series becomes, which is fun action? You don't have to, he's pissed because his dog got killed and now he's going to kill everyone. And it is also, popcorn action and popcorn. And again, I've seen 3/4 of the first one. I plan to watch the other ones just because, again, it's fun and I don't have to think about it. But it falls into that similar vein. And you go back through, between that time period and now when Face Off came out and talking about this kind of John Woo style action, what are our other action movies? Of course, we had the Jackie Chan Azance when he did, American movies, whether it was Shanghai Nights 1 and 2 or whether it was...
I love those movies, by the way.
What's the one with Chris Tucker?
Rush Hour.
Yeah, Rush Hour 2. We get that. That's a different, that's a genre crossing thing. We have the Die Hard series, and those kind of cover a wide range of stuff.
Yes, they do.
Lethal Weapon, a little bit older, but, again, a series of action-y kind of things, but not as stylized as like a John Woo or maybe even a Woo film or John Wick even. Like those feel more stylized. If they had taken, or what's the one, Golden Circle and Kingsman, like those kind of fit. Kingsman kind of fit that vibe too,
Good
like
movies.
a stylized action that you don't have to think about. Like they're just fun.
Yeah.
I think honestly with that one, Kingsman might be the most modern comparison to what they were doing with this one. I don't want to necessarily go where everybody would assume I would go, but I will say with John Wick, with Kingsman, they do that stylized action. They do hit on some of the gun fu like 90s era bombastic action, but they also don't go as like overly characterized. They aren't as crazy.
Yeah.
They're like, especially the John Wicks, they take themselves serious enough. The plot of the dog and everything like that, and also just the ridiculous action of just like, oh, you're on hologram, like you can't do that here. Like there's so many things where it's like, that's silly, but that's this film's Bible, so you have to go buy it.
That's what makes it fun. Like, to quote Jermaine Clement to Taika Waititi while they were making What We Do in the Shadows, the world needs stupid stuff.
For sure.
He didn't say stuff, but you get it.
And that's what those are. But I feel like, you've got Ian McShane, you've got Keanu Reeves. Like, it's a really good cast there. On the other side, you've got Stanley Tucci and everyone else in Kingsman that I can't remember.
Stanley Tucci.
But I don't know. I just feel like they understood the assignment in a different way. And this, I definitely think it was go crazy.
Go crazy, do what you can to make this movie interesting and watchable, I think. Because but still in a very organized and choreographed way. Oh, for sure.
Not a, well, let's just go out there and free ball it and see what happens. Like, again, style was still, there.
Hang on. Can anybody help me out with this one? What are we talking about?
Okay.
Is that the Leonardo DiCaprio one?
Yes, it is.
What?
Yes,
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Romeo and Juliet, like period piece Romeo and
No.
Juliet?
Set in 1990.
No. This is like the modern, like, Prince kind of, Prince album-ish
it's,
kind of.
What's that stupid George Clooney movie? Not the one I don't like, but you like, the one you're talking about all the time. It's the Odyssey.
Oh, brother, where art thou?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
that.
Iliad.
What's
It's
that?
that of like
You
Iliad.
are going down in my
Yeah,
my.
you're for everything on movies.
I
Today.
know,
What are we doing
God.
here?
I hate Titanic. If that
Oh,
helps.
for the show.
put
What's
us on the
happening
same
here?
level.
man, I'm gonna have no credit when I go into my episodes about Transformers
No,
movies.
but it's
Like-
fine. But yeah,
Like, how do you not like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
it's
Eh, I don't. It's
he's a
not.
special kind of Southern where he's not
You,
Southern.
you know what? You know what? You know what? I don't do this often, but you know what, Charlie? You can find out because we talk about that a little bit in our commentary. Become a patron. Starts at $3 a pop,
There you go.
or wait like a month and it'll be public. But yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like it's not a bad movie to me, not because I don't like it. Like I know
It's
that's
just not
what
for you.
that's what a lot of people hear when I say things, or when people in general say, "Well, I don't like that." Oh, you're saying it's not good? No, I'm not. I'm saying it's a genre of a film, and it's the kind of story that just doesn't speak to me. It
You
doesn't
did not read
entertain me.
classic literature.
Okay, if you want to put it that way.
You have not seen the classics.
But yeah, like if it's just straight up melodrama, if it's just straight up romance, or if it's just old school
Yeah.
artsy, like I just can't. There's a wall, and some of it I admit is me, but I can't get in there. I
Mhm.
just I might be able to appreciate it, but I can't like it. I don't
You know what? That's fine because I can't watch comedies made after 1998.
And I don't like the Lord of the Rings movies, so that's where we are.
Whoa.
Well, it's been fun having you on the podcast.
That's
buddy.
right. Yeah.
See you later.
This is where I hit the road.
It is a visual and therefore a visceral betrayal. Stop it.
There you go.
You get a John
Deserved.
for that one.
Deserved. I'll take it.
Oh my gosh. But oh my gosh, I don't know where all we were going with that one.
I don't
We
remember.
were talking about movies that reminded us of
Oh yes,
Kind of
yes.
felt the
connected
same.
in some way.
I the one that made me think of it, because I like Nick here, I haven't seen Face Off in 15, 20 years. And when I watched it, the one movie that came to mind was Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen and Paul Giamatti. Yes, that came to mind with me because it's just outrageous, crazy gunfights, and yeah.
Yep.
Well, what's interesting is when I was kind of getting into some of the research for this and looking back, like most people that are fans of his work, or at least of this crazy action, will know or have heard about like Hard Boiled, which is probably the thing that got John Woo his notoriety. And I'm just like, I always forget, and because I'm like, oh, that's a good movie, but it's not. It's the same thing. And one reviewer that I was kind of going down the rabbit hole of talked about it in the sense of like, there's not a whole lot that separates Hard Boiled from Face Off, but there is something to understand about like some of the like unhinged characterization in Face Off to us American viewers doesn't seem right or natural, but in the very very strict, or like, I'm trying to remember exactly how I put it, but like in the Hong Kong films and in their culture, like it just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not a crazy characterization to be just so overtly, this is what I'm saying, this is what I'm doing, this is what, like, I can't remember how exactly he put it, but it was one of those things where it's just like, it's literally just it's lost in translation.
I'm holding back the rant on German expressionism. I'm doing my best.
And so it's almost one of those things where it's just like some of the same things, because of the setting that John Woo's original films are in, work a lot better than they maybe do in this one. And very similarly in Mission Impossible 2, where it's just like you're dealing with characters that have very established paths, and they just don't seem like themselves. They're not making choices they seem like they would be making. And so he just offered it as kind of an answer for maybe why, it's so like nowadays divisive, because obviously at the time people loved this stinking movie. It's insane. But did you know that John Woo almost didn't do this movie?
Really?
So it went through 7 rewrites before it finally got somewhere that he liked it.
And that's where it landed?
And well, so one of the things I found interesting was, so when we were talking about the movie in our commentary, you know, I was just like, wow, this is weirdly like futuristic. Like this has elements like it was inspired by some sci-fi or whatnot. And lo and behold, way back, the original write for this was sci-fi. It was in like some futuristic space prison or something like that. And so like the Magna boots and some of that stuff. And even you can see it in some of the set design for the prison where it's just like, this doesn't look like obviously they made it, but like it's not even trying to be an actual prison somewhere.
I'm sorry, do you mean the magnetic Super Mario Brothers the movie boots?
Yeah. Are those exactly the same boots? Because
they are the same boots. They are the same boots from Super Mario Brothers.
That's like the Starship Trooper armor showing up in Power Rangers, man.
Yeah. When you have stuff, you use it.
That's true. That's true. But yeah,
because you had to pay for Nicolas Cage to be in the movie, so you know
exactly
they have to skimp on other things to make it happen.
That's right.
But do you know who they almost had instead? Who they originally wanted?
Yes.
Oh, I have a whole list of them. I have a whole list of them.
Yeah,
that's one. That's one. There's several.
I would have loved that movie though, because I actually talked to Boop about the escape plan, where they finally kind of got this movie. But like I would have really loved, and you know what? My biggest complaint, well, not my biggest complaint, but one of my complaints about this movie would have gone away because Stallone and Schwarzenegger both have rectangle heads. I could believe they swapped faces.
They do have rectangle heads. Very rectangular.
Of the IMDb notes that I screenshotted and saved for this special occasion, one of them was about the various other pairs of actors that were considered for these 2 roles. Yeah, I know. I saw that. The other pairs of actors considered for the Sean Archer and Castor Troy, besides Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, Harrison Ford and Michael Douglas.
Nope.
Bruce Willis and Alec Baldwin.
Nope.
Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Clearly too old at this point.
No.
This is maybe my favorite. Van Damme and Seagal.
Oh!
How great. JCVD and Steven Seagal.
You found the thing.
And
that
then the
would
other
make
one
me hate
was
this movie.
and then the other one was Denzel Washington and Wesley Snipes. But if you're gonna take and make, you know, if you're gonna crank it up one more notch of crazy, Van Damme and Seagal, that's where it's at.
Can you imagine being on set, like not even filming with those 2 like megalomaniacs, but like just being there in the same space?
Get Seagal.
That's probably why they didn't do it, because they couldn't have hired anyone to actually work as crew on that set.
No.
Oh yeah, like that would have been insane.
Like jumping, air kicking everybody in the face.
That's funny. It's interesting how at some point, so like, you know, John Woo also did Hard Target with JCV, and
Broken Arrow with Travolta.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's interesting how he kind of comes back to some people. I guess they just work with his vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously we give a lot of attention. This whole series is about analyzing and subjecting me to Nic Cage, but how do y'all feel about John Travolta?
I think John Travolta got a raw deal.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I like John Travolta.
There.
You know, I was listening to a podcast the other day with Quentin Tarantino on it when he's talking about Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis wanted to play Travolta's part.
Interesting.
But he was not going to let him, because he thought Travolta had the better physique and better, you know, acting skill for it. And Tarantino said that Willis's agent called him and said, "Hey, look, you can have Willis or you can have the guy that started in Look Who's Talking Now. Which one do you want?"
Fair.
That's funny.
But no, I'm a big Travolta fan, and unlike the last few movies he's done. I think that he got a raw deal in the early '90s, and he could have been he could have been a big moneymaker if they just let him.
Yeah, I'm curious how much of it was his choice, because he was going from everything from like family comedy to action to romance.
Yeah, there was that one movie with Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, with the edible glasses.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Do you remember what that was called?
I don't.
Oh man, just Google that. It was just Google that and enjoy.
Just Google John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, not Grease.
Not Grease, yes. Yeah, well, and I mean that's part of where I think he got his start with Saturday Night Fever as well. Like he's been all over the place, and I just wonder how much was him and how much was just the job or what. He's got quite a confusing career.
I just don't think he could find the niche that he was into. I think that's part of it too. Like he couldn't find what he was comfortable doing.
Yeah. Could be. I mean,
and I back that up. I mean, I was scrolling through that IMDb. That's why I was making those faces as Charlie was talking. Not that I was judging Charlie
you're fine.
For his admiration of John Travolta, but I was scrolling through that IMDb, looking at it, going, other than Pulp Fiction, and Pulp Fiction is kind of its own unique, pop cultural, like it is its own thing.
For sure.
Like there's nothing in his IMDb that I'm like, oh man, I really like that. Like there's not anything that hits for me. There's a lot of, cheese. You've got Phenomenon. You've got
oh my God, Phenomenon.
Dude,
Michael, where he's the angel, exactly. Broken Arrow. Get Shorty was funny. Like that was kind of a good, but like the Look Who's Talking movies, no thank you. But then there's other kind of weird one-offs like Primary Colors, which was essentially the Bill Clinton movie that came out. It's not Bill Clinton by name, but he plays Jack Stanton, the governor who is supposed to be a stand-in, for Clinton. Yeah. And that was a good movie, and it, got a lot of critical review. And then you get military stuff, then Red Line, Civil Action, General's Daughter,
waiting for
Swordfish.
Basic.
That was a big one with Halle Berry.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in that one.
Yeah, Swordfish. Yeah.
But
then you start getting back up into, like Wild Hogs and like the movies that our parents would all go watch and be like, "Did you see that? That was great." And you're like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
Grown-ups for suburbanites.
Grown-ups for suburbanites. Grown-ups for the parents of suburbanites.
There you go. Well, and two, like, I mentioned one of my favorite movies of his is Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. He's a villain in that, and I think he does really good because he kind of did a turn into villain arcs in his older age.
It's weird. Scientologists
Punisher
great villains.
Except for Tom Cruise.
Ugh.
No, he played a good villain in what's that one with Robert Downey Jr.
His
playing a
marriage to
dude playing
Nicole
another
Kidman.
dude.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. Yeah. That's I love.
Where he's like this. Yeah. With the big hairy chest.
That is some of the best makeup application I have ever seen. Because until the credits, I didn't know who the heck that was. That was amazing. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like Brennen hit it on the head with his comment of like, he was trying for sure. And I think they got him because I guess he was willing to try, but he just didn't quite meet that same level of crazy. And I don't know how much of it's being opposite Nic Cage.
It's hard. It's hard to match him in any sense.
Sure.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, just like Page Turner said,
Damage,
whatever.
Good movie. Collateral Damage.
Yeah, anyways, you confused me.
Sorry. Well, also because Boop and I were talking about this when we were watching, like curious how many times, or if at all, like they would maybe have the correct person play it, because Archer is John Travolta's character,
right?
Yep.
Castor is Castor is Nic Cage's character.
Yeah.
How much they'd have them play that character and then swap, or one thing I was thinking of is maybe they had Nic Cage come up with Archer's character because he plays Archer the most, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And then like share notes after. Like I it's such an interesting thing to play such crazy characters, against each other like that.
Well, I know they spent a couple of weeks together before the filming ever started, so they can get used to each other and get their mannerisms down and stuff like that.
Could you imagine?
That would have been awesome. They needed to do a movie with that. Just them two for 2 weeks. I mean, it'd be.
I would go on a retreat with Nic Cage. I just wouldn't want to work with him.
No, I would want to be his.
I can see him coming up behind you like he did the girl in the choir.
Oh my God.
Did we clip that? Did you get it clipped?
I mean, I did, but I didn't end up using it because I was going back and forth between that for the intro clip and what I ended up showing with Caster's Boys. That's one of those things. I would take it as a compliment, I would.
Well,
okay, good.
You can eat a peach for hours.
You can.
Oh my God.
I can eat a peach for hours.
Somebody watch this movie for us and tell us. Like, I don't even think we saw a peach in the movie.
No, because
Never
the peaches
peach.
are metaphoricals.
Well, I mean, yes, obviously, but
I was waiting for the presidents of the United States start playing peaches.
Right.
Millions of peaches.
Well, and at this point, it becomes. It's not Chekhov's gun anymore. It's Chekhov's peach. Like, at what point, you mention it in the first act, the peach has to show up in the third act, right?
Right. But then where did the nuclear vessels come in, Nick?
The vessels.
Oh, goodness.
It just hilarious.
So I will say,
yes.
We won't get there just yet. I'll do the roundtable before we get to Nick's show and tell. So we've talked about the crazy. It's a roller coaster. It is fun. It is popcorn movie. It's a lovely little time capsule of what American action movies were like in the late 90s cinema. But for you now, like, and you two have the benefit of, like, you've rewatched it after many, many years.
I watch it once or twice a month.
If you have to give it a 1 out of 10, where's this movie sit for you? Not in terms of quality.
No, in terms of enjoyment.
Watchability.
Yes. Yeah. How much do you enjoy yourself with this movie?
It's not good. I'm gonna say 2. It's not
really?
like, yeah,
really.
Like right away. To be perfectly honest, right away, as soon as it started, the acting was so cheesy. Everything about it. And again, like, I highly recommend to anybody, if you listen to the podcast, How Did This Get Made? They do a phenomenal episode about this movie. It's not available right now because it's archived, but it'll come back. But, like, it's so bad. It's just so bad. And as I watched it, the things that it honestly made me think of was I watched this and I watched the acting, and honestly, it was like a feeder into going, oh yeah, you know what else is so bad? The Rock and Con Air. Those are both also so bad. Like, you've got him standing up there making the comments about winners go home and have a party with the prom queen, and you have,
the best line in the entire movie.
But it's so cheesy. It's not even bad. It's just cheesy. Like, yeah, it's low for me. I'm not the right audience for this.
Nick is lactose intolerant.
I'm so glad that I watched it for the sake of this conversation, but I won't be back anytime soon.
Nick is very honest. He just wanted to hang out tonight.
That's fine.
And we ain't
the cost
mad
of
at
admission, I'm willing to pay it.
Ain't mad at you, Charlie.
Well, I have a total opposite opinion.
Good. That's the way it should be.
I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen it in 15, 20 years. I mean, that's how long it's been since I've seen the movie. And I, like everybody else, I went and rented it on Amazon last Saturday, getting ready for the podcast. And I'll be honest, I went and bought it this week.
Yeah.
So I could have it in my collection because I couldn't find it. I don't think I've got it. So I mean, well, yeah, I could probably watch that like boop every month 3 or 4 times. I mean,
yeah. I mean, in the past year, we've watched it a handful of times.
It's so good. I love that freaking movie so much.
I mean, it's just it's a popcorn. It's a when you don't want to think about anything, you just sit there and watch it.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's just it's a good non-thinking movie.
There you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'll give it an 8.5.
Oh, nice. Very generous.
Yeah.
No, I mean that. I truly mean that. Like that's how it works. You know what my mindless crap is not somebody else's mindless thing.
So if you had to put a number, I know you hate notoriously ranking things or rating.
I hate ranking things like movie upon movie. I'm fine with like giving it a number value. I would give it, I'm going to say 9.5 surgical tools out of 10 faces off.
We didn't even talk about like the surgery scene. That was some pretty interesting, like medical horror. Very brief.
Straight up 3D printing. We're gonna reprint that here.
Right.
Crank that thing out.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But like it's not a good movie, like Nick said. It's very, you could poke holes in the writing like all the time. You could make various comments about how ridiculous it is, as we have. But if you just want to watch a movie, it's a dang fine choice, because that is a movie that will warp your brain and just like smack you on the butt on your way out, because it is,
and there is
so much fun.
There is something to be said for, we hear the phrase all the time with actors chewing scenery.
Oh, and he chomps
Nicolas
giant holes in it.
Cage, like when he's when they're at the little compound, the bad guy compound, and he's losing his mind because he's starting to lose the connection with, himself, Archer, versus, and like the mirror, and like the really like crazy, and he's doing the like this thing, like
I'm not.
It's it's good, and it's the kind of cheesy that you're going, what else would it be? Like, it makes sense while it's still that bad. So it is a very weird, fine line for cheese. That's the best term I can apply to it is.
Yeah.
And you know what? There are people who enjoy a fine brie and like a good like Munster or something like that.
A good stinky cheese.
I love American cheese. I will put nothing else on a grilled cheese. And my attitude is the same with movies. Like I'll enjoy like a Dario Argento film or like a Scorsese if I'm in the mood. But
you mean like The Departed?
Maybe.
But be careful. I love that movie.
Oh man, I do too.
I love that movie.
We had an argument about The Departed.
No. I was just baffled that
That's okay. I took a crap. No, it's okay.
I
took a crap on Lord of the Rings earlier. So really, anything you say is better than that.
Well, it's more embarrassing than that. Like, they couldn't tell the difference between Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon.
Don't make fun of me. I'm sensitive.
It's just funny how once somebody gets brown hair and a block for a head,
he has such a square face. And
I can say you can get them easily mixed up. You can.
I couldn't tell the difference for most of the movie.
You can confuse a Wahlberg for someone else, not Wahlberg.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Matt Damon, yeah.
They don't make them like Wahlbergs, man. I'm just saying.
They put them in a brick pizza oven. They come out of water.
That's right.
I did have. Go ahead.
Jeremy Irons is in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
That's insane. We're getting a new movie too, y'all.
Yep.
I'm kind of into
this year, I think.
Yeah.
March, soon, very soon.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Nick?
I was just gonna say I had two more IMDb trivia things that I pulled out just because.
Cool.
Go
ahead.
One, as a Star Wars podcaster, a Star Wars person, and I don't believe this is actually a thing, but this is the great thing about IMDb trivia, and people can just put shit in there like Wikipedia. It says, and I'm going to read it word for word because I don't believe this is, an actual thing.
Oh gosh.
The movie inspired the TV show, the Clone Wars episode Deception, which had a similar plot. In the episode, Obi-Wan Kenobi undergoes a face transformation procedure where he assumes the identity of bounty hunter Racco Hardeen and goes undercover in a Republic jail so he can foil Moralo Eval's plot to kidnap Chancellor Palpatine. I definitely remember this episode. I remember the whole thing. It's this whole there's no way in hell that in the writers' room of Clone Wars, they're like, face off. We're doing a face off episode.
Dave Filoni's been outed. He's a Nic Cage fan.
That's right. There's no way. But
I doubt it.
I love that somebody took the effort to put that and type that into
sure.
IMDb trivia.
I mean, yeah, for sure. The coincidence is there, but like, I'm sure, you know, we could, with minimal Googling, find other movies of very, very similar extreme bombastic plot. But yeah, we did bring that up.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we're getting into what's the one? Haley Mills and the mom and the daughter when they swap.
Freaky Friday.
Oh,
yeah, Freaky Friday.
Because
really
Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis redid it back in
they did.
What, 2000, 2001.
The original slap though.
Yeah.
The sequels or the
just like Parent Trap.
Oh,
they
yeah.
tried to redo it.
Parent Trap.
Yep.
Parent Trap was. I remember that.
Lohan was on a remake kick.
So the other IMDb one I had was, and this speaks to me in my personal life and my real day job as a professional vampire, as someone who runs a blood bank. Somebody also took the opportunity to write into the trivia, the two main characters' blood types reflect their antagonistic nature. Sean Archer's blood type is O negative, the universal donor, reflecting Archer's role as a police officer dedicated to serving the community. Castor Troy is AB positive, the universal recipient, someone who takes from society without giving anything back.
Okay, so
that's the most brilliant part of this movie, right there.
This is exactly what I was talking about when I was conflicted on, did they mean to do this, or am I just reading too much into this? Like, that's one of those things.
It's hard to know, and that's the brilliance of the whole thing.
The thing you mentioned with, you know, when he's starting to lose his mind, when he hangs out with Castor's posse and everything, it's like, are they just letting Nic Cage be crazy here, or are they trying to make me conflicted? Oh no, is he gonna go bad? It's stuff like that where it's just like, you know, for instance, did they know how ridiculously we were going to obsess over background characters in Star Wars, or did they just you know, fill in the back end? I don't know, and I don't know if I want to know, but it keeps me up at night.
I think it has the potential to be intentional, because in a lot of Asian countries, blood type is like horoscope. In Korea, they do blood tests before they give you a job, because that can reflect on how well you're going to do in a job.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Really
interesting.
Answer for that question.
Asked and answered.
Well, now you have another reason.
Things.
You have another reason to be fearful of blood transfusions. So there you go. I guess you don't want to inherit some personalities, or like Jessica Alba, you don't want to inherit the psychic ability to see ghosts. So there you go.
We're not even talking about them.
No, we're not. But it's still on my mind.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's right, Jodie Foster. Everybody should watch the original Freaky Friday. It's great. I actually saw that one before the other one because my mom refused to let me see it tarnished. So there you go.
Good for her.
Right.
That's right. I admire that kind of parenting.
Oh yeah, confirmed. She had standards.
That's true. So I will say, and I think you kind of hear me go through the process in the commentary, and I don't mean to keep plugging it. It's just that we did it. It's there.
Yeah.
And if this isn't enough show for you, that's a whole nother, chunk of content for you. But like, you hear me go through the process of like jokey internet comment criticism early on to like really like obsessing over the details of wanting to understand or know how it wants me to feel about this movie and everything.
Thinking about the plot,
it's not as dumb as I remembered it, or that it necessarily has the reputation for being. It's not a masterpiece. It's not artful, but it
there's a plot.
It's not garbage either. Yeah, it's very interesting. I found myself enjoying it in the right places.
Yeah. There's points in the commentary where I go completely silent because I'm watching the movie and I forget to talk.
We did do that a few times. But yeah, there's moments obviously where it's just like, all right, brain off. We're just shooting a bunch of guns and, like the jail escape, the airport scene.
Can we talk about the ending?
But the bits in between, I found myself really like analyzing and being intrigued by. So
Well,
I'd
we
say
actually do need to talk about the ending at some point, because here's also what happened. Peek behind my curtain. I rented that movie from Amazon for $3, and with like 20 minutes left, my rental expired after 2 days, so I didn't actually watch the last 20 minutes.
Oh no!
So
I
we need
kind
to
of
catch
forgot.
you up.
I kind of forgot how it ended.
Oh, that's the best part.
know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's probably a square 5 out of 10 because it,
Wow.
like, I don't like it. I don't hate it. It's not bad though. It's like,
Mhm.
it's a movie, and it's something that I'm fine with having on if we don't know what else to watch, or if we don't want anything like heavy.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I said, like I did tune out a little bit in the big action, mostly because John Woo's also very notorious for extended action sequences.
Yeah,
Yes.
the ending is
Yep.
like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
It's a
awesome.
long climax, and like it's funny because it bookends. So it's like I said, it started John Woo, it ended John Woo, but it started like subtly.
Mhm.
It actually, like, it's almost this
Would
thing
you
of
call
like,
that subtle?
compared to the ending, when you get all the you get
This
dubs
word, I don't
in
think it means
literally
what you think it
every
means.
shot.
But in the beginning, you get the Hallelujah choir.
I
and a
know.
blood
I
crown.
mean,
Well, no, I mean the action sequence.
Well, yeah.
I mean strictly the airport, the airstrip scene, compared to the finale at the funeral. Like it's just it went over the top, and I think it
Mhm.
was intentional, of just wanting to end bigger than everything else that had happened in the movie.
Mhm.
You know, it didn't want to get the jail scene to steal its thunder. It didn't want the opening action to steal its thunder. It wanted the finale to be the climax. Because
it's like a fireworks show.
Oh yeah.
that's a great way to put it, because
great
it's got
analogy.
that same like spontaneity and flair
Mhm.
for sure.
What other movie have you seen that has not only a shootout in a church with multiple people dying, you also get a Mexican standoff in said church, and then you go directly into a boat chase with an exploding boat, and then a man gets harpooned in the side, and Christ imagery?
I'm going to say none other movies. That's
No. It's like, it's the Red Dragon thing that I say all the time. Every movie needs at least one scene where somebody eats a painting. Every single movie needs a boat chase. I think
Fair.
that would make every movie better.
This has some great stunts in that sequence too, though.
Yeah, those
Oh,
stunts.
for sure.
None of those stunts had digital effects at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing, is just the era of like, you get it or you don't get it kind of special effects. Like at the very least, it's one of those things where it's like, even if Jackie Chan movies aren't your stick, like you should be able to watch some of those stunts and at least be able to like praise it for that technicality.
Yeah, and the set pieces being used as props in the fights.
Which happens a lot here. Like,
oh yeah,
I do think this was a kind of action that wasn't happening in a lot of films like it, or even in the same year. I think it was very much just punch him, shoot him, wrap up. Like the most you had, and you mentioned like Lethal Weapon earlier, like the most you had was like an extended car chase scene, maybe a guy with a flamethrower. Like there was pizzazz there for sure, but nothing quite as over the top as this. Even like I'd put raiding the camp scene from Predator out there, of just like, even that was tame by face-off standards.
Yeah.
And so it had a lot going on, and I think if anybody needs a study of what John Woo is about and what he brings to screen, watch the finale of Face Off. At least that. It's like 35 minutes, and
it's like half the movie.
You get it all.
Yeah.
And this movie just kept giving too. Like there were so many times where I'm just like, oh, it's a prison movie now. Oh no, wait, nope, it's a gangster movie now. Oh, now
it's a family drama.
Like it just kept pulling things out of its hat. I'm just like, wow. So and it fits it all in a 2-hour package, which is kind of impressive.
Oh, yeah.
So
I have a question for our guests that I've been ruminating on for the last.
This is an excellent comment, by the way.
Yes, Brennen's trying. He's going to get you.
I think that would be good. Just very slow paddling. Technically, it's not a boat chase, but it is a barrel chase in the Hobbit movies.
Oh,
I reach a point. I reach a point sometimes with Lord of the Rings where I become Ron Swanson and I say, "Is that the one with the little wizard boy?"
Fair.
Just pull out the big old dad card on that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry. All right, you had a question. Yes.
The question that I've been ruminating on for the last 2 days. So Castor Troy has a special box that someone offers to him at the beginning and then during the drugged out scene.
IMDb Trivia has the entire contents of that box in case you need it.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
It's chiclets.
Yep.
There's joints. There's little blue pills.
Yep.
There's a mysterious substance in a bag. And the guns, of course. What do you think would be in your box for someone to offer you?
What would be in the box?
It's like the B question, but better.
Oh yeah, I know.
What's in your Castor box? While you think about that, something I never caught about this was that Castor and Pollux was a reference to the Greek gods.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought they were stupid names.
They are stupid names, but they're also Greek gods.
That's why they became stars.
Shit.
So they got their stripper named Gemini.
Well, while I stall for time answering the question, I'm looking for the contents because I just saw it and I closed the window.
Oh no!
But I'm back. Also, here it is. Also, everybody knows, of course, and there's a funny, more modern connection. The prison was Erewhon, and of course, Erewhon is the word nowhere backwards.
Yes.
Do we also remember that in the recently delightful Silicon Valley on HBO, the island that the guy was building on the international date line in the middle of everywhere, that was also called Erewhon.
Nice reference.
Where what's his name? He was Gabe in The Office, and then he became what's his name in Silicon Valley. I can't think of his name. Anyhow, he gets trapped there in the self-driving car, and it's literally just like him and a bunch of robots and self-driving forklifts and cars. And anyhow, that island was also called Erewhon.
Silicon Valley is the one with all the tech bros.
Yes, it's really funny.
The island prison in Face Off
was called Erewhon.
In Face Off was called Erewhon.
Where was that said or listed? When did that happen?
With the magnetic boots. The magnetic boot prison was Erewhon.
Yeah.
No. I mean, but like,
when was the name said?
Was it said? Was it said?
Yeah, it was said. It was said at one point. It was said Erewhon.
Yeah,
which is nowhere spelled backwards.
I never knew that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, so the ornate box that is open for Castor Troy on the tarmac contains the following: a bag of blue pills, sunglasses, 3 rolled cigarettes or joints, a pack of chiclets, 4 pieces of Bazooka Joe bubblegum, a switchblade, and what appears to be a blue glass vial.
Dang it. I got a few of them.
You got almost all of them right.
Yeah, you were definitely on.
You did good. You did good.
Well,
because I couldn't think of anything. But
listen, if I had to choose, I think in my box there would be the sourest candy that you can imagine, for one thing, a small stuffed rabbit, because you know how much I love those, a pair of novelty sunglasses that are huge, and then several fake mustaches, like a ridiculous amount of fake mustaches.
I like it.
One for every situation. You'd be like the guy. You'd be Charles Dance from Last Action Hero with the eye.
Yep.
Where you have an eye for every situation. You have a mustache.
That's it, and a fake eye. Not mine. Enough for me, just for fun.
Just in case. Last Action Hero. I could talk about that movie too.
We will.
Oh,
I guess
supportive. We will.
Right.
All right, JD, what about your box?
Depends on what the box's intent is. Well, I'm just
I don't think
the
that's
intent
part of
of
the question.
Confucius.
yeah, I don't think that's. I mean,
A bowl
Charlie,
is
what do you
useful
got?
when it is empty.
okay, so in mine it would be gummy bears.
Yes.
Fair.
Gummy bears. My gum of choice would be Big Red.
Hmm.
And I would have a camera in mine.
Nice.
Yeah. That's all I can think of. I mean, I don't smoke, so I can't say I have that.
Good for you. I think for me, like if we're going with like pre-flight snack or like trip snacks, like
it's a lot of thought going into this right now.
I can't. This is how my brain works, man. I can't take simple questions. But like pistachios and beef jerky, because I don't chew bubble gum, so I take 2 snacks instead.
Fair. I don't chew gum either.
A cup of coffee, if I could.
Anything can go in the box.
And a pair of wireless headphones, so I don't have to listen to people on the flight or during my like evil villain prep scene or whatever. Yeah, and that's probably, and sunglasses. That's always a good. That's always a good pull.
Novelty sunglasses or just regular sunglasses?
Master Roshi's sunglasses from Dragon Ball Z.
I call those novelty.
I like it. There's a lot of synergy here between these various answers and what I guess would be in my box. Gummy bears, 100%. I'm a gummy bears guy. Earbuds, wireless earbuds of some sort. Like, even in my real life, I'm one in, one out, listening to podcasts, doing my normal life, cleaning dishes, working, whatever it is I'm doing. A couple of minis of bourbon. I'm that guy. I'm the whiskey guy. It's going to have to be there.
There you go.
I don't need a big like self-defense weapon, but I do carry a very teeny tiny, like about the smallest you can get, like pocket knife, and it's for basic crap like opening a box. Like I don't want it to clip to my pocket. I want it to be inside. I'm a skinny jeans guy. Like this can't be a big knife. I'm not Switchblade. I'm not whatever. Tiny knife, just utility, gets you through the day. Some gummy bears, the headphone or the earbuds. I'm a simple guy. I don't need a whole bunch. Maybe an extra ponytail holder that I can throw on my wrist because I have 4 daughters and we're always in need of a ponytail. That's just the way it goes.
Samesies. That's a great point. I need one.
It's kind of adorable.
Yeah,
Nicholas.
I've got
mine was actually hidden under the beads, but it's right.
I'm glad I'm not the only one then.
I have beads and a ponytail, so I got it all.
There you go. That's awesome. Well, there you go. You now know the contents of our secret box. J.J. Abrams, be darned.
That's right.
No, we're the opposite of J.J. Abrams. I'm going to unpack this box for you and tell you exactly what it is.
And
exactly.
And you all passed.
Not just shove it in front of you.
We had the FBI listening for no reason. Nobody listed drugs in their box, so you're all good to
That's
go.
Right. Move along.
The drugs are implied.
The drugs are implied.
That's right. We all already understood that part.
We
The
already
drugs are in
assumed
the
you
other
did
box
them all.
that I have.
Right. Always
whole
do your
different
drugs
box.
before you leave.
You get the
That's
Rob
right.
Schneider. You can put your weed in there.
Put your weed in it.
That is a reference for
That's
3
it.
people.
Yep. That's good.
I was gonna say
Oh,
that's like Book's family joke.
It's true.
Put your weed in it.
We shop together. Like that's just something our family does. Apparently,
Yeah.
it's just like,
What
oh,
else are you going to do? Love each other?
we all traveled 8 hours to see each other. What are we gonna do? Go to Target?
No.
And it's just picking up random crap and be like, what this is good for. Put your weed.
And it's the same era as bands don't have sequels. Pearl Jam 2. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well,
Oh my God.
and I'll go on the record saying my favorite Rob Schneider movie is Judge Dredd. I'm just putting it out
Surf
there.
Ninjas.
I'm putting that out there. I don't think I've seen Surf Ninjas. I've seen Ninjas in a Park or something like that with
Ninjas in a Park.
where Ernest plays the villain, and I watched it for Ernest.
Yes.
I watched it for Ernest.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. Huh?
I've never seen that movie.
I think Jim Vaughn, right?
Jim Varney.
Jim Varney, yeah.
Yep.
You've never seen that movie?
No.
Oh
I
my
don't know what you're talking
gosh.
about either.
What?
What?
Mr. Miyagi's in what? It's like
I've
it's
seen
like
Hold
ninjas
on.
in
We're
ninjas
gonna
in a
solve
park or
this
something.
right now.
Yeah,
I've still
I'm
got
pulling out the
IMDb
movies
pulled
now.
up.
I've got movies coming up now too.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's like ninjas in a park or something. It's got Mr. Miyagi in it. It's got kids, and it's got
Is it Three
Ninjas in
Ninjas?
a Park. I'm so
I don't know.
Is it? If it's Three Ninjas, I'm gonna be disappointed in myself because that was a movie back in the day.
It might be Three Ninjas. I don't know if it's
Three
like,
Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
which is a sequel to one of them. Hulk Hogan, Lonnie Anderson, Jim Varney. Good chord.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh, that's right. Hulk Hogan is in this.
Is that the movie where he throws the
But
dog
I don't
into
see
the
Mr. Miyagi.
river?
No, that's a different movie. Maybe he's in a different one. I don't know, but anyway, I don't. That's the Superior Kid Ninja movie. I'm just saying.
Whoa.
I remember having.
You heard it here first, folks.
I remember having fun.
All right.
You know what I didn't have fun doing though?
Watching this movie.
Watching all the face waterfalls of this ridiculous movie.
Yep. We have a clip.
Yes, we do. And the sooner we see this madness, the sooner it's over.
No, it's never over. We're gonna lock you in that prison with those Super Mario boots.
With the Mario boots, exactly.
And make you watch this movie over and over again.
Right.
So what are we getting subjected to here?
This is every time they brush a hand down a face or they say the words face off in the movie Face Off.
Oh gosh. Well, here we go.
Come on.
Oh my gosh. 9.
My name's Jamie.
10.
My freaking face. Oh, face. Face. Oh, coming off. Face. My freaking face.
I will say that last one
11 times.
That last one is my favorite delivery of Face Off, and it's not even by Travolta or Nic Cage.
No.
It's hilarious.
The one by Cassavetes.
Yeah. 11 face waterfalls. Imagine doing 11 shots in 2 hours. Where would you be at?
That's what it is.
Nowhere good. That's all I can say. So this movie is a wild ride. If anyone hasn't, I recommend checking it out. And if you want to have more fun while doing that, you can, like I said, join our Patreon, check out our commentary for it. It's like having us watching it with you, and we talk about all kinds of ridiculous things and all that good stuff. So maybe
if you want us to do more in the future, let us know.
Yeah. So every time we talk about a Nic Cage movie, you can expect a commentary to go up over on our Patreon and eventually be made public. But if there's other things, obviously we are a Star Wars first kind of podcast. Maybe we'll do the Star Wars ones if people are into that. Let us know. But definitely, it's one of the perks we're starting to offer more to our patrons who help make all of this possible. You pay for our StreamYard. You pay for our Headliner subscription that helps us make some of the videos we make for the podcast. All of it goes to this, and of course we have to pay our lovely guests. So the more support, the better. Your checks are in the mail. Just
awesome.
Keep an eye out.
I'm expecting it.
Yes, it's a good thing you don't drink, because this movie would kill you.
11 face waterfalls would take you out.
Oh man, it's crazy, especially depending on what spirit you pick. But
the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Nicholas.
I'm with you.
Milk Daddy.
Yes, sir.
What you got going over on your podcast? You can leave these lovely folks with.
We have a bunch of exciting stuff. I am a part of the Streaming Star Wars Network. If you go to streamingstarwars.com, you can find all the things we do. I still do Podcasts of the Wheels. It's become a little bit more, niche and specific to deep dives and some of that kind of stuff. Pete and I have begun co-hosting Around the Galaxy together. So we're doing interviews, the two of us sharing. Just finished up actually this last week. I had an episode with Brandon Nerdy from Talking Bay 94, one of the regulars in our circle. Great guy. We talked about collectibles and Indiana Jones and all the other things that I love besides just Star Wars. I do want to plug, coming up this next week, we've got an episode with David O'Reilly. David O'Reilly is a location scout. and has literally scouted a whole bunch of Star Wars movies. And I've decided if there's a job you want in the movies besides being an actual on-screen camera actor, you want to be a location scout, because your job is to get sent to cool places around the world and take pictures on the company's dime. And he was the location scout for Rogue One, so he was in the Maldives and Mexico and all these other places. He did Rise of Skywalker. He may or may not be working on some upcoming movie projects that have been released or rumored or whatever. Great conversation, super cool guy. Has done Tim Burton, tons and tons of movies, but also, and this is the one I'm super excited about, 2 weeks, 2 weeks from now coming out. We recorded yesterday. We had the opportunity to interview Deborah Wilson.
Yeah.
Deborah Wilson, for those who do not know, she was on Mad TV. She's been literally in every video game you can think of, but she is the actor who portrayed Cere Junda in Jedi Fallen Order. She is also going to be in Jedi Survivor, which comes out in March. Unbelievable interview, crazy energy. She has a great story about Mark Hamill and how she literally used the Force to will Mark Hamill into her life. So cool, so fun to hang out with. Just truly amazing. Like I can't recommend that enough. That'll be coming out in the next couple weeks. And then Friday nights we do Force Connect, which is, as we say, sports talk radio for Star Wars. You were the guest of the show. We throw the link in the chat pretty early on, and we want to just talk about Star Wars with anybody who's watching and hanging out. So streamingstarwars.com, you can find all the information for all that stuff.
That's awesome. I'm really excited about that one with Deborah Wilson. When I saw the promo for that on Twitter recently, I got very excited.
Oh, yeah.
But also, I have to thank you guys for having Greg Grunberg on.
Oh, my God.
Because he
Also
apparently went
amazing.
on a follow spree after that as well. And so now Nerd Herder is officially
Snap
followed
Wexley.
by... Yes!
Yep.
I love
yelled
it.
at him from live.
Like, he was so nice. And this is one of the things
right.
I'm so thankful that we get to do what we do. We get to interview the people we get to talk to. Between myself, between Pete, the fact that, we've combined our efforts and working on these different things, the majority of these people that we get to are truly the nicest people. Like initially, Greg Grunberg said, he's like, yeah, I've got about 30 minutes. We talked to him for an hour and a half. And my wife, who one of the seminal moments in her life was Felicity. And Greg Grunberg was on Felicity. J.J. Abrams directed Felicity. Like, that's her whole, like, halfway through high school, halfway through college. She came in and talked to him for a few minutes before we started the interview. He took all the time in the world. And then by the time we got done, like 20 minutes after we got done, I got a text from Pete. And he said, Greg wanted me to send this video to Laura. And he had reached out to another actress, Mandy Foreman, who played Megan in Felicity. And she basically recorded Laura a cameo video. Hey, Laura, Happy New Year. Just wanted to tell you, like, he was the nicest guy, and he's a fan. And again, his childhood best friend is J.J. Abrams. And he tells this crazy story about how he, J.J. Abrams, and Matt Reeves, who we know did the Batman movie this last year, the three of them, as kids, were cutting together Steven Spielberg's old 8mm video tapes that were found in a man's house in Arizona. Like, the dude bought the house. It used to be Steven Spielberg's house. He found these tapes, and it's just crazy. And it's essentially like The Fabelmans, which came out this year, which is about Steven Spielberg and his life. And it's the most meta thing in the world. And Greg Grunberg's like, yeah, it's my buddy, JJ. We just hang out. Like, it's so wild. So that
this
one
man
was
keeps giving me work.
Yeah.
And again, just so nice. He sent me a copy of the book that he wrote with his son. It's a graphic novel. Like, it just super, super nice. So him, Deborah Wilson, and most importantly, and this isn't to sound like a brag, but like, honestly, I'm so blessed and so excited to get to continue to connect with these people that tell the stories that we all love and connect to so much. Like, that's what makes this community and this podcasting thing, the Weird Space Friends, whether they're celebrities or whether they're just the rest of us. Like, it's the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you deserve it, buddy.
Well, and that's what I love about what you guys do is it's not the same sort of media material interviews that I think so many of us are used to, like, seeing a lot of folks in, and also you guys get like you're getting a location scout. You're getting people on who normally don't get a spotlight for their contribution to these things we love. So it's like I always enjoy who you guys are able to bring in, and of course, you and Pete, y'all are good with interviews, and so it always proves to be
appreciate that.
Proves to be a good time.
If you guys ever get Michael Giacchino on, and you need someone to just sit in the back room and stare,
and here's the thing: I think he's achievable. Like he and I, we've kind of got a hit list, and we've got things we're working on. And there are certain people, like he's been on other stuff relatively recently. He was actually on the George Lucas talk show. And I've got connections with Patrick and Connor, who are both, Connor plays George Lucas on the George Lucas talk show. He's been on my show. Like there's some things that we could make happen. So I'll keep you posted.
I don't need to be on the show. Just put me in the back room. That's all I need. Wow. He worked on Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're over here with our Nic Cage commentaries.
That's fine.
Also, doing the Lord our Savior Cage's work.
That's right.
Yes. Papa Cage. Well, Charlie, I know you don't have necessarily a podcast yet, but I still love you. And also, it's great to have published photographer Charlie on with us tonight. Really proud of that. For those, follow Charlie for his photography. He's good. He's very good. And it was North Augusta, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the North Augusta Municipal Building.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful building.
Yep. And so that's one of those things. Like I've always, I like making things, but I've never been able to have something that I can point at somewhere like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like that is just awesome to me that you got something up there.
It's because you don't post your art.
Well, that's yes, but nobody wants to see that.
No,
but,
no, I want to see it. So I want to see it.
Hey, don't be so quick to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
don't be.
Maybe it'll be a Patreon stretch goal.
John's a very good artist.
I've always doodled and I've always dabbled. And if there's folks I dabble any day with, it'd be you doodles, for sure.
Maybe podcasting wasn't a good idea.
I believe what you're trying to say is a little dabble will do ya.
Hey, and
that sounds good,
Daddy.
I may or may not be a dad with jokes.
Well, nonetheless, we'll be here next week with some exciting guests. I'm very happy to have joining us again.
I'm sure I will be too when I find out who they are.
you just can't think of it right now.
Probably.
And I don't want to say, because as happens, life gets lifey. So maybe they'll show up, maybe they won't. Last time I said Alden was coming, he didn't. So stuff
just
happens.
Like that Alden Diaz.
But
always. In fairness, last week when you said I was coming and I didn't, so
that's true.
Just
we also said
just like that Nick Milky.
we also said we were, and that didn't happen. It's just stuff happens. Our podcast is us getting to hang out with cool people, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the plan is to talk to some cool people about a cool guy, namely one Count Dooku. And so with Tales of the Jedi, of course, our publisher's pick of the choice, Dooku Jedi Lost.
So is it possible, and I'll post this to you, and I'll watch eagerly for the answer next week.
Ooh.
Are we in a Dooku-zance? Because between Jedi Lost, which I've not read, I'll be the first to admit, but between what we've seen, certainly in animation, and then Tales of the Jedi, we continue to plant this seed of Dooku may have been onto something before everybody else was, and then got pushed, over the edge. I look forward to checking that out. I look forward to hearing what y'all have to say.
And that will absolutely come up, because that's part of the inspiration for the episode. Is not only did we have a great character 20 years ago brought to life by Sir Christopher Lee, we continue to get that cool character now brought to life by the lovely Corey Burton as well.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to talk about, and we got some cool people to join us for that gush session. And so I look forward to that. That'll be next week, next Sunday at 8 ish, and where we will be for as long as we feel like it, as long as Sundays keep working.
Until the SCP Foundation finds me.
We'll keep trying. And so other than that, invite everyone to please check out our guest, give them a follow on Twitter or Instagram, wherever you like to find your weird space friends. You will be better for it, for sure. And thank you guys for joining us once again.
My pleasure.
Great to have both of you on.
What are you, Chick-fil-A?
Nick is the Chick-fil-A of dads, for sure.
I'm the Popeye's chicken sandwich of dads.
Hey, well,
don't come at me with your Chick-fil-A nonsense. I'll tell you right
chicken is the shiznit. So there you go.
Don't bring little Nicky into this.
He's always in this.
Into the episode before it gets worse.
Yes, before it gets any more crazy, everybody remember to stay cagey.
Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.